gas prices are totally getting out of hand. We've seen, even here in Texas, where prices tend to be lower than in the rest of the country, we've seen prices well into the $4 plus, $5 in some places. I've seen people taking photos at the pump of prices that are $6, high sixes, even early sevens. And some people are predicting that gas will go up to $10 or even higher, and relatively soon. So the Biden administration realizes that this is a problem and that there are lots of people who will find these prices intolerable and will go nuts. And this is not going to do any wonders for Biden's already tottering poll ratings. Now, Biden says, he's been saying that this is not his fault. This is something that is caused by Russia. This is the Ukraine war.
It's gonna go up. Can't do much right now. Russia's responsible.
And there's a little bit of truth to that, but only a little, because gas prices were rising dramatically before all this. So it has a lot to do with the fact that Biden has actively suppressed oil production in the United States. He's actually been quite blunt in saying he doesn't want to see fossil fuels in America. He's going to do what he can, he said in the 2020 campaign, to shut down oil production, to move away from fossil fuels. So when you do that, you're basically suppressing the supply, and it's the law of supply and demand. Prices are going to go up. Now, this latest conflict is going to make things worse. So what is Biden's solution? You think he might be like, well, let me rethink, let me maybe at least temporarily go back to oil production in America. No, Biden's plan is to go to Russia's allies, namely Venezuela and Iran, and buy oil from there. Now, Debbie's laughing at this, and rightly so, because number one,
Putin's his sugar daddy.
Debbie's like, Putin's his sugar daddy, Venezuela. And Iran, of course, is working hand in hand with China and with Russia. So the idea that sort of, I'm not going to buy from Russia, I'm going to go buy from China and Venezuela to kind of get around Russia. I mean, who are you fooling? I think the idea, quite honestly, is just to fool the American people, because this is a completely ineffective approach. In fact, if you want to be funny about it, not that the Venezuelans or the Iranians need oil, but they could say, okay, we'll sell to America and we'll buy from Russia. So this is not exactly an effective or a winning strategy, but I think there's a plot afoot here. And what I mean is that the Biden administration, kind of continuing from the Obama days, remember Obama's idea was to sort of take America down a notch. And Obama tried to do that many different ways, one of which was to bring the Muslim Brotherhood to power in Egypt. Unfortunately for Obama, he was thwarted in doing this. The Egyptian military came in and Mohammed Morsi was pushed out. So Obama failed in his effort to install a Muslim Brotherhood, radical Islamic, anti-American regime in Egypt. But nevertheless, Obama did do the Iran deal. Trump, of course, unwound the Iran deal. And it looks like Biden is now trying to put it back. So what Biden is trying to do is rehabilitate Iran, restore the Iran deal, remove sanctions on Iran, buy Iranian oil, and then also prop up the Maduro regime in Venezuela. So the United States now becomes an active upholder of socialist tyranny in Venezuela, and also of Islamic radicalism through the premier Islamic radical regime in the world, which is the regime of the mullahs in Iran. Republicans are calling for Biden to restore the Keystone Pipeline, to restore some of the Arctic drilling leases that he canceled, to reduce the taxation and regulation on the oil drilling industry. But it looks like Biden is deaf to those kinds of pleas. We have an energy policy that is nothing short of an unmitigated disaster. In some ways, I'm not hoping for Biden to succeed here. It seems to me, and of course there have been people on CNN and elsewhere who've said, well, I don't think Americans are going to mind higher gas prices because they're very outraged by what's going on in Ukraine. First of all, I think this is complete nonsense. But I will say that I don't entirely mind higher gas prices. Why? Because I think that this administration is such a disaster that anything that can serve as a wake-up call to the American people to unleash absolute fury and destruction on the Democrats, both in the midterm elections and hopefully in the 2024 election, anything that makes that more likely, I think long term is good for America.